Harvey Dylan, and 2021 954 GM Charlie Dylan. Attorney Podolsky represents Guardian, and Jennifer Reid represents Harvey Dylan. And for the HHS, we have Savannah Anderson, Charlie McCall, and Stephen Parks, Guardian ad litem.
Okay. Good afternoon to everyone.
Hey, Judge.
Well, this is the 6-month review of the court structured guardianship plan, but it's been longer than 6 months based upon what I see from the record. I do note as well, I would state we have a number of potential reports, et cetera, to accept in this matter. And I note that I believe my office received a phone call from Miss Anderson just not too long ago, stating that she had an additional report. Want to know if we wanted it sent to the court. We declined that because it had not been sent to any of the attorneys in this matter or the guardian ad litem. So the court would not consider it with the fact that it has not had opportunity to be reviewed by all of the interested parties in this particular case. I guess I'll open up to Ms. Podolsky because you represent the guardian and you're kind of the first person on the list. So what's your position on the review today?
Your Honor, it's our position that the guardianships should continue. Based on the reports, there continues to be much work that needs to be done on the relationship between mother and minor children. I do believe the court is in receipt of the report from Mr. Bosher, who is the minor child Corey's counselor. I believe that was sent to counsel today as well. I have spoken with Mr. Bosher. I've spoken with my client. Mr. Bosher is willing to conduct counseling between mom and the minor children, specifically Forry. He is older, but being Corey's primary counselor, he has a rapport with Corey. He has had sessions with mom before, and we believe that would be appropriate based upon that relationship Corey has with him. Corey is comfortable with him, and we believe that would create a good therapeutic setting for them to work on that relationship and bond.
Okay. Ms. Reid, what's your position in this matter?
We would agree that the guardianship can continue at this time. There were issues with my client participating with Mr. Bosher, as she had requested to participate in those counseling sessions, but the guardian had refused to allow her to participate in those because he would have to pay for them. And so that's why counseling sessions were set up between my client, Corey, and Sandy Burdick. So I don't know if we want to have both of the counselors work together and collaborate a little bit to see what's going on, or if we want to transition to just one counselor.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Parks, court will note that Mr. Parks has filed a guardian ad litem report dated February 21st, 2023. The court's reviewed, and I believe each of the parties have had as well. Mr. Parks, what's your position for today?
Well, I think my observations and concerns are addressed in my report. And it's my understanding that the only thing before the court is a guardianship review. It seems to be working right now. And I would also suggest that the guardianship should continue. Although I do believe it is imperative that Forry and his mother do more counseling. Even though things are, I believe, significantly better than they were months or years ago, I just get a sense that there is a lack of trust here regarding mother. And even though she has done a significant amount of work and put herself in a very good position, I believe there is more work to be done with the relationship between Charlie and his mother. It's not horrible, but he just has a lot of mistrust. And I believe counseling would be very, very important in moving this case forward.
Okay. And Ms. Anderson, I guess I'll open up to you as well on behalf of DHHS, what's your position?
My recommendation was that the guardianship be terminated and the children be allowed to return to the care of their mother. Carly she's done an amazing job. I've spoken to both children. Their concerns regarding returning to the home were mainly regarding switching schools and mom feeding different foods than what they're used to at grandpa's house.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Well, the court will note, the court has before me the Dr. Haugen's report, which was filed back on 8/30/2022, in which he states that meaning mother has maintained sobriety, has engaged in treatment services, and appears to be progressing well at this time. His recommendation was for continued visitation, that she maintain sobriety. The court notes that court has before me too Matt Bosher's report dated 2/20/2023 in this particular matter. Court has a counseling service assessment and treatment plan report from Sandra Burdick covering the period covering the period of 12/1 through 12/31/2022, in which she has recommended continuing with counseling, and that mother and Mr. Dylan, I believe, would be work together as the children transition to her care. Court was note that I have received the forensic fluid lab report dated 11/21/2022, filed February of this year, showing that it has been positive for THC. Of course, the court has stated the court has the guardian ad litem report, and in the guardian ad litem report, the court notes that Mr. Parks has stated that Mr. Dylan does not have faith in the mother's ability to remain drug-free due to a past repeated relapse. That relapse, I think, occurred back in 2021, based on my review of the file. Basically, the report states as well that Mr. Dylan does provide the children with a good, stable home environment, and children have done well in his care. Ms. Anderson has filed a report dated February 6, 2023, in which she recommended the return, as she stated, recommended mother continue with her counseling with Danielle Acker, and that Corey continue with Matt Bosher. And the court does note that I have received a letter from Danielle Smith dated 2/14/2023, which she has recommended reunification with mother. And again, then the last, I have a counseling service assessment treatment plan report from Sandra Bullock dated 1/31/2023, where she recommends that family counseling increase and that the mother maintain sobriety. I think those are all the reports. Ms. Podolsky, do you have any opposition to the court receiving those reports into evidence in this matter?
I do not.
Ms. Reid?
I do not.
And Mr. Parks?
I do not.
And I guess I'll ask Ms. Anderson as well.
I do not.
Okay, the court will receive in as exhibits those particular reports and put those in the record in this matter. When I do review those, I do note, as stated in this case, that mother has been making substantial progress. In fact, I would have to say it's, for cases like this, I would have to say it's incredible progress based upon assessing it against other cases. But it does appear that the experts in this matter do recommend additional counseling, and based upon what the court sees, although there's been effectively over a year and a half of continued sobriety, the court would like to see an additional period of time. So what the court is going to do in this matter is simply continue the guardianship at this time. And then we will bring it in for an additional 6-month review. And at that time, have the ability to reassess it. The court will order that there be continued counseling as recommended by almost everyone in this particular matter. And that we again look at, again, as well as everything's progressing, that we continue to move towards reintegration and reunification in this particular matter with the, I guess, the continued involvement of all the counselors in this particular matter. I think, as Mr. Park stated, it'd probably be appropriate that the counselors would start to coordinate and work together in this particular matter to at least have input from each other, so that that comes into play in their recommendation. With that in mind, Ms. Podolsky, anything else that you believe that we need to address today?
I would just want to ensure, when we're talking about continued counseling, the orders also direct that the guardian and the mother are to participate in counseling together. I understand that while that has started, there have been appointments that have been canceled that has not been consistent. We would like to see that be consistent. And if that means it needs to be with a different counselor, that is fine. My client is open to that because I think this relationship is also just as important, because the orders do state that this guardianship will not terminate until there is a grandparenting time schedule put in place. And I mean, this is a parent-child relationship between the guardian and mother as well. So we do believe that that relationship is also very important. So if that means we need to get a new counselor involved for the two of them, so be it, but that counseling needs to get on track and continue.
Well, okay, my inclination, I guess my position is, we've got enough counselors in this case already that I don't see the utility of adding in an additional counselor. I think obviously from the individuals that are involved in this case already, if they begin to coordinate and discuss amongst themselves some sort of a coordinated approach, that we should be able to accomplish that. But yes, Ms. Podolsky, in court will order that the guardian and the mother would participate in some sort of joint counseling, with the idea that we want to move forward, as I stated, for reunification, reintegration, if you would. And I think that's going to be necessary that we have both of those parties involved to be able to do that. So that would be an order of the court as well.
Thank you.
Ms. Reid, what's your position, or is there anything else you believe we need to address today?
In my reading of the reports, it sounds, and I would agree with everybody, that there's some trust issues between especially Corey and my client. And right now she has standard parenting time, and I would request within this next 6 months that, as part of this reintegration and trust building with the help of the counselors, that her parenting time would also increase.
Well, I obviously hope that I guess I'll leave that to you, Ms. Reid. If we get some updated reports from the counselors and they recommend some, I guess you say, increased schedule, that we can review that, and we can do that if you want. We could do it through a status conference or something, so we don't have to wait until the 6-month review. I'll leave that up to you, Ms. Reid, to initiate, if you would.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Parks, anything else on behalf of the guardian ad litem?
No, thank you.
Okay, and Ms. Anderson?
I would agree with Ms. Reid that the parenting time should be increased. After speaking with all of the children and the mother, there is still some issues that they need to work through. However, I don't think that those are going to be met by every other weekend and 1 day a week.
Okay, well, like I say, we'll leave it open to the counselors to make, the various counselors to make recommendations. The court will consider it at that time when we can get everyone together for a status conference and hopefully move forward. I guess with that, the court will again ask, I guess I'll ask Ms. Podolsky that you would prepare an order from today's hearing, and submit that under 7-day, and that will be able to conclude the matter. And we will end this hearing at 1:50 p.m. You're free to go. Have a good day, and we will hopefully we'll hear back from you in a reasonably short time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's move on to our